Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about Dungeon Command. In this case, the Blood of Gruumsh. Or Gruumsh? However you say it. Doesn't matter. Ta-da! Now, what is important to know about these models that come in here are, first of all, you don't want... Listen. For storage, you got two things working against you on this set. One, popping minis in and out of this stuff, if you decide to paint them, it's going to destroy your paint job. I don't even use it for that. Two, the box, it's basically a donut box. Okay? So, to give it structure, you need this insert. So for storage purposes, now, you can use a tackle box. I've seen people do it. To store all of your Dungeon Command games. Okay? That's one option. But if you want to keep your box held together, you got to have this insert. So what I do is, when you get it, everything comes like this. And all the minis are in their perspective spots. Okay. But, like I said, if you do any modding, your paint's going to come off. So instead of doing that, what you're going to do is flip it upside down. Okay. And you can put your... Now, I keep these cards separate from... Let me show you something. There's two sets of cards that come with the game. The first set of cards are the actual game itself. Okay? That's the Dungeon Command deck that comes with the set. Okay? And all of these are, special powers. By the way, I put them in inserts, but you don't have to. I would suggest it if you like your cards, not wearing and tearing. Okay, so then I put that in a Ziploc baggie, and I put all the models in there too. Alright, now you could decide that's a horrible way to store it, and there are arguments for that. Now, let's look at the models real quick. Oh, before we get to that though, let's talk about the game itself. So you get those cards. You also get these cards, which you may recognize if you've ever played the Dungeons and Dragons Adventure series of board games. Okay? There's a bunch of them. Castle Ravenloft, Wrath of a Chardalon, Legend of Drizzt. There's also Temple of Elemental Evil and Tomb of Annihilation and Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which I happen to have handy. Yes, very nice. Now, very nice. Here's the thing. So, all of these Dungeon Command games act as add-ons for any of those main games. Now, you cannot play without at least one of those 6 main games I mentioned. Okay? But any one of them, and then you can use these as add-ons. Alright? So, these are the cards you need to do that. In this set, they're just monster cards. Now, one big exception is one of the sets has heroes, which join your cause, okay? And we can get into that in a future video. Now, this is what I bought these games for. I did not buy them for Dungeon Command because, this is, look, it's kind of like, it plays a lot like Magic the Gathering. And if you like Magic the Gathering, if that's your thing, you'll probably almost like this game. I've never actually played it, so I can't speak to that. I can't say. There's no randomness, though. All your damages are predetermined. All right. Here is the owlbear. The paint job is lacking, but the sculpt isn't terrible. All right. On the bottom, you'll see that the lettering is there. It's not, highlighted like one might like. That's one thing. The Pathfinder miniatures have the lettering colored, and the D&D stuff doesn't. On these pre-painted WizKids minis. Okay. Although these are the Hasbro sculpts, matter of fact. Now that I think about it. So disregard. I mean, what I said is true, but that's of WizKids. These are Hasbro minis. Okay. Now, the thing about Hasbro minis is they're very durable. You could drive a car over this thing. It would probably still be usable. On the downside, the paint jobs are garbage. Although, on these sets, I got to tell you, the paint jobs are better than the pre-painted minis that originally came out. Okay? And I could do a comparison maybe in a future video, because I do have some of the orcs from the Hasbro days. Okay, so let's do the big ones first. We did the owlbear. Here is the ogre. It's a nice ogre. Now you gotta realize these games came out, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I am pretty sure 4th edition was the thing when these miniatures were first conceived. Okay, so you're gonna notice that this ogre has a 5th edition feel to it, or 4th edition rather, not a 3rd edition feel, which they look completely different. I have some of those models, maybe for a future video. Alright, the orcs. Now, so we got a band of orcs. The premise here is it's a team. So these teams have themes. And the theme in this one is the orc theme, okay? So apparently the owlbear and the ogre are their pets. So this is an orc drudge. The orc drudge. Here he is in all of his glory and excitement. Woohoo. Now, I'll put these on grid squares so you can kind of see what you're looking at here. Size-wise. Size large, size medium. Here is the orc druid. The orc druid. I think the staff is a bit overboard. It looks so unwieldy and heavy that why would anyone have that? I honestly, the paint job, as you'll see, it's not terrible. This is tabletop, and you can't say that for all Hasbro minis. So the paint jobs are here are a little better than the ones you get in the box or in a random box. Here's another orc drudge. So some are duplicates. Orc drudge. Again, we'll put the duplicates together down here. And we'll go ahead and get the other orc drudge out, because I'm pretty sure there's 3 of them. Okay. Oh, there's only 2. Okay, perfect. All right. There is an orc cleric. Okay, orc cleric. Again, perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable miniature. And a corresponding card to use. So if you were playing one of the board games and you really wanted to go for that orc theme, you'd want to play Wrath of Ashardalon, right? Because that's where your orcs are at. So if you added this set to Wrath of Ashardalon, you would really enhance any card saying bring out all orcs, for example. You're also going to be right in the theme of that game, okay? Anyway, let's keep going here. This is your Orc Chieftain. So this is the big bad. The Orc Chieftain. He is the guy that's running the show, and you can only imagine, being an orc, that he runs the show by might. Might makes right. This is an orc barbarian. Okay, so you got mostly unique units. There are duplicates. There are 2 of the drudges, and there are 2 of these archers. And again, these archers I can compare for you with the pre-painted on a future video. Yep. There they are. And again, these are perfectly tabletop, ready to go. Now, here's your problem with this set. First of all, let me show the last 2 models. Here's a boar. Okay. How boring. Now, as it so happens in the Legend of Drizzt board game, there is a boar as a familiar to the one of the PCs. Okay, it's a dwarf battle rager. I forget his name. Not big on the whole Drizzt thing. Not that I hate it, it's just not my thing. But if you're into the story, don't get mad at me. But the battle rager from that game has a boar. Now, it just so happens that this game has the card to play the boar as a monster that comes out worth 2 experience points. Or, what I use it for, or did until Reaper Bones 4 gets here, is you can actually use this boar as his pet. Same way that Drizzt has the panther. That Battle Rager dwarf can now have a mini on the table instead of a little, the little stand-in disc that they give you. All right, and here is a wereboar. Okay. I am guessing he's a lycanthrope orc that has been turned into a wereboar. All right, that's my guess. Now, again, never played the game. The reviews I've seen on it are mixed. Some say it's a great game. Most people say it's a game that needs more randomness. Some people hate randomness. So if you hate randomness, this is your game. Your units always do the same amount of damage no matter what. And losing units cost you morale, which is your life, essentially. So it's very tactical. The cards can deflect and counter attacks, okay? So there's strategy on top of it. So there's a lot going on there, so much so that I haven't even found anyone that wanted to try to play this game with me, all right? Which I run into fairly frequently. But where this set really shines is this game, because this game is a home run. If you like board games, okay, and you have a casual audience, okay? Casual audience. There's a few board games I can recommend, and one of them is the D&D Adventure series, okay? The game is so simple. It plays itself. It literally does. There's a AI built in. The monsters do what the card says, okay? If the boar is within 2 tiles of a hero, it moves adjacent to the closest hero and attacks them with a goring attack, all right? Or, if there are no heroes within 2 tiles, it moves 2 tiles towards the closest hero. Pretty straightforward. And right here, +6 to hit, 1 damage if it hits. It's really simple. Some are a little more involved. Not really in this set, because, it's the orc set. But, your orc archer. If he's in melee, he does less damage. But if he's at a range, he's way more effective. I mean, your ogre's a big bad, worth more experience points, but also much more dangerous. Same thing with your orc chieftain. So, point is, if you're playing Wrath of Ashardalon, it's almost required that you pull this set out and play with it, because it's just that awesome. Because it fits the theme perfectly for what you're going for with that particular game. Okay? Now, this is my opening and review of Dungeon Command. If you find a better storage solution for your copy, let me know. I do have the other Dungeon Command games. If you guys want to see them, let me know. If not, that's okay too. If you want to see Castle Ravenloft, Temple of Elemental Evil, Tomb of Annihilation, whatever, let me know. We'll make it happen. All right, that's all I got for this video. Have a good one.